Welcome, dear astrology friends, to another video with me, Veerle, and this is all about November of 2025. This month is a month where there's a couple of things happening, and I'm gonna say what's gonna happen in general, and then look at each sign of the zodiac, of the 12 signs, what is going on energetically. So let's get into this. This is a month where I think this month is going to be the most important to Mercury retrograde. For sure. There are a couple of retrogrades going on and so on. Of Uranus getting back into Taurus. So Uranus has been for a couple of months in Gemini at the very beginning of it, you know, the 0 degrees of Gemini, 1 degrees of Gemini, and now it goes back into Taurus, 29 degrees. And it's gonna do that, Uranus, back into Taurus at the 9th of November. So it's a finishing up of freedom in the, or it is an opportunity for freedom for sure, for newness, for changes, for insights, liberations when it comes to the area of your life in your chart where you have Taurus. And it's going to do that in the last degrees of Taurus, like 29 degrees and then 28 degrees and so on, up until like the 26th of April of 2026. Then it goes back to Gemini and it's not going to come back again in Taurus. But this is significant very, very much because this means that we are going to wrap up some things that we didn't do. And we have an opportunity. Of course, it's energy, so you do whatever you want to do with it. But if in the midst of this all, so around the 9th of November, when Uranus goes back into Taurus, in the midst of it all, we have a Mercury retrograde. That happens 3 times a year approximately. So Mercury retrograde is not that rare, but it always shows, okay, we will revisit something. Mercury is the planet of thinking. It's the planet of communication. And when it goes backwards, yes, it is possible when you travel that it is, that it's going to take a little bit longer. And yes, it is possible that you're going to lose your keys. And when you're buying something that you have to go back and the thing that you bought, there might be an issue with it, and so on and so on. But it's not really that you're saying, oh, Mercury retrograde. It's like, oh, I can't deal with it. Not at all. Mercury retrograde, if we believe in nature, if we trust in the universe, if we trust in the energies around us, it's simply saying we have to look back to something. We have to really reassess something. And when we believe that, and when we do that, we're going to get rewards of the Mercury retrograde. Always and always. If we go with the energy that is, it's way easier in life. If there's one thing out of that astrology taught me, it's that. You know, it's certainly, I don't know about you, but it has taught me to accept life better. So, and definitely also accepting the self and others. But anyway, I'm digressing. So this Mercury retrograde is going to start. It's going to be in Sagittarius, around at about 6 degrees of Sagittarius, Mercury in Sagittarius. And it seems like it's going to stop and go backwards to 5 degrees of Sagittarius, 4 degrees, and so on. And it's going to do that on the 10th of November. So just after this Uranus going backwards in Taurus, boom, the day after, Mercury goes retrograde at 6 degrees of Sagittarius on the 10th. And it goes even back into the latest degrees of Scorpio as well. So when it's like 6 degrees, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, then it gets back into 29 degrees of Scorpio. And it's going to do that around the 20th of the month. And then the rest of the month, it's going to stay in Scorpio. Now, Mercury goes direct at the very last day of November, 30th of November, Mercury goes direct. It will be then at 20 degrees of Scorpio. So then it's going to go forwards again, 21 degree, 22 degree of Scorpio. That will be around December time, and then be out of its shadow with the Mercury again being at 6 degrees of Sag at the 17th of December. So actually this Mercury retrograde, it's already is starting very early on. You could say when we are reaching the 20 degrees of Scorpio, and I think that's going to be somewhere in October. Let's double check this. Mercury in Scorpio. Yeah, it's going to be around the 21st of October. Then it already is, although it goes direct, it's starting this retrograde phase. And it goes up until like the 17th of December. It's a long retrograde phase, but it seems long. But it's always a couple of weeks that we're having here of reviewing something. Now, what is specific here and makes it a bit more complex to explain, but I'll do my best to do it the best way possible, is that we're going to have this Mercury retrograde not just in Sagittarius, but also in Scorpio. So it's going to be in 2 signs. Sometimes that happens, you know, when it's the beginning of a certain degree where it goes backwards, it goes into that previous sign again. So you could say that this Mercury retrograde has 2 parts of it. It has from the beginning of the month, let's say like when it goes retrograde, right? So you could say technically around the 9th of November, but already when Mercury is in Sagittarius, right? So at the beginning of the month, Mercury is going to be in Sagittarius up until like the 20th of the month, and there it's going to do stuff. And then Mercury will be in Scorpio from the 20th of November and onwards. And it's also going to do its stuff, right? And with its stuff, I mean, it's going to have different flavors because it's different houses. We have a Sagittarian house and we all have a Scorpio house, and it's going to make different aspects as well. So for instance, when Mercury is going to be in Scorpio again, as from the 20th of November and onwards, it's going to beautifully trine Jupiter, because Jupiter is at the end of Cancer, right? So it's going to be like Mercury trining Jupiter, which is beautiful for a Mercury retrograde. But that's for the Scorpio flavor. Now, the other flavor, which is the Mercury in Sagittarius, and certainly the beginning, it's going to oppose what? Exactly, it's going to oppose Uranus. But the thing is, this Mercury opposite Uranus is going on for the whole month, you could say the whole month of November. Why? Because in the beginning, we're going to have Mercury in Sagittarius opposing Uranus in Gemini. But then both of these planets go backwards, which means they're going to stay in an opposition. So Mercury is going back into Scorpio at the very last degree, and then it's going to oppose Uranus at the last degree of Taurus. So you could say safely that Mercury opposes Uranus the whole month of November, right? Which is a very interesting aspect, which I'm going to explain. So the Mercury retrograde, let's start with explaining it, because there's other things going on, but I think it's the most important thing. And its aspects that it's going to form. I mean, there's no eclipses happening and so on. There's not like with other big planets or long-term planets that something is going on. No. What is going on actually in November, you could say, is a continuation of energy that we already have in October, which is the Mars and the Mercury traveling together very close. As I speak now, I'm recording this quite early in October. But the thing is that we already have Mars and Mercury traveling together in Scorpio. And I explain what that means. It's totally different than Mars-Mercury that are going to travel again together, but in Sagittarius, right? So we already know, or I have explained in the other videos of October, specifically in October, that the Mars-Mercury conjunction, we're also going to have that specifically from the 5th of November to the 15th of November. So that is going to be Mars conjunct Mercury. That Mercury, that very important Mercury, Mars is going to conjoin it in Sagittarius, and it's actually going to pass it. So Mercury is going to, like, you could say it's going to touch Mars and then it goes backwards, and Mars goes first and Mercury goes, so to speak, backwards. Very significant. Very, very, I know this is all technical, but bear with me. That conjunction is very, very important. That is happening around the midst of the month, the 11th, the 12th, the 13th, 14th, Mercury, Mars. So, very important for November, we have a Mercury retrograde. Second thing, in 2 signs. Second thing that is super important, we're going to have a conjunction of Mercury and Mars in Sagittarius around the midst of the month. Third thing that is important, we're having a beautiful trine to Jupiter in the half, after the 20th of the month, which is very, very supportive, expansive, beautiful water energy. And fourth, throughout the whole month, we have an opposition between Mercury and Uranus. So this is the key stuff of the month. It's quite a lot to talk about, but it's quite significant to explain it piece by piece and then knit it all together. So actually, if we're going to look at this Mercury in Sag, let's start with that. Mercury in Sagittarius, you could say, and then Mars joining it, Mercury and Mars in Sagittarius together. Astrology is neutral. It's neutral. You can see it in a bad way. You can see it in a good way. There is going to be people who are very unconscious, who will experience, of course, the more negative way, and people who want to work on themselves, people who are alchemists and trying to understand what's going on and wanting to be the highest version of themselves, are going to tap or try to tap into the higher version of this Mars Mercury in Sagittarius. And of course, depending on your own chart, if you have a fire, a sun or a moon in another fire sign like Leo or Sag, it's going to be, or Aries, it's going to be easier for you than when you have this in like a square to this Sagittarian energy. If you have like planets in Virgo or in Gemini or in Pisces, right? It all depends. But, so there's no good and bad basically of this energy. It's about how it's going to play out. And where do we have to watch for? With Mercury and Mars in Sagittarius, is very loud. It's extremely, Mercury conjunct Mars is loud in itself. I mean, look at me. I have this in my natal chart. I'm loud. People say that I have a loud voice. Okay. So Mercury Mars is loud. When it speaks, it's very driven here. It's very active here, and it wants to do. It thinks and it wants to do, and it wants to kind of work out what they're thinking. Now in Sagittarius, at the energy of the Sagittarian, which is a positive sign, which is I don't mean that negative positive, which is a yang sign, let's call it that way, which is all about doing, which is all about fire, which is all about expressing. And Mars Mercury in Sagittarius wants to express itself. And what does it want to express? Their belief system, right? So a Mars conjunct Mercury in a natal chart in Sagittarius could be like a teacher. That would be seen very much in the chart of a teacher, in the chart of someone who can be even also, because of the belief system, a bit of a philanthropic energy, actually. So this could be someone who's, a part of the union and standing up for other people and speaking out for justice and so on. Sagittarius is associated with all of that. It's associated with teachings, with learnings, with travel, with expanding the mind, with a lot of foreign countries, foreign languages, and so on. So it has a lot of juiciness and goodness in it. it has a lot of wisdom to bring to others. When people use this in a positive way, this energy, they are the best teachers. They give you freedom in the wisdom, and they give you knowledge. They share their experiences, and they give you a bigger perspective. You know, like I always talk about, when you're in traffic, when you're in a traffic jam and you can't see how long the traffic jam is, if you go out of the car like a drone, you can see how long that traffic jam is. It's not going to put it away, the traffic jam, but it will give you a knowledge of course, an understanding of, look, it is how it is, and it's going to take that long, and it's a part of the whole. That's what Sagittarius is at its best. It's the big teacher, and the lust for knowledge and for truth, right? Therefore, Sagittarius is also connected with judges and court and legal stuff, law, and so on. So that's the good side. And we will all have an opportunity to tap into that, to tap into a bigger vision, to tap into Mercury going retrograde in Sag, so reassessing something, but at the same time taking action in a very inspired, spiritual way. Of course, there is a challenge in Mercury, Mars in Sagittarius, and that challenge is all about the wiseacre. It's all about dogma, the negative side of Sagittarius, the challenging part of it, the pitfall of it, you know, the speaking so loud that you want to push things through people's throats, so to speak. And of course, that is the negative side of Sagittarius. That is a person that is not really believing it itself and therefore forcing things. Of course, we're going to see also that. We're going to see people who are going to be very opinionated. I mean, haven't we seen that already around us? But this is going to be more coming to the surface, you know, people who say, I know best, and because, you know, I have the best intentions, but I know best, and da, 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 da. So make sure that you detect this very early in yourself and also in others, you know, when others want to, then you become a preacher and not someone, you know, it's a very rigid actually. So we don't want to go there. Also with Mercury and Mars, you know, it's different than Mercury and Mars in Scorpio. It's more like, you know, behind the scenes, and it can stick, you know, where it's painful. With Mars, Mercury, it's more, you could say, open, overt, and it's more like the truth in your face, right? It's so, it's truth, it's the truth, but it's very like, how would I say? Let's say you date someone and, you know, you're a bit of a shy person and you're dating someone who's got this Mars, Mercury in Sagittarius in their natal chart and not really using it in the best way, which is they are truth seekers and they are telling people who don't want to hear the truth always, or doing it in a too much of a harsh way. So Mercury, Mars in Sagittarius can hurt with words as well, by saying the truth in the face and very bluntly, right? And some people like that. Other people say, "Oh, you don't have to do it so harsh." So like, and you're dating, and they say, "Oh, yeah, but that dress looks terrible on you." It might be the truth, and it might be something that really, you know, on an objective level, that color is clashing with the color of the person's hair or whatever. But the thing is, it's very blunt. It's more in that way. This Mars Mercury in Sagittarius, it's really a bit more in the face, a bit more. It's not like sneaky with like with Mars Mercury that we're experiencing in October in Scorpio. It's more in the face and more open. So, but of course, it's also confrontational. And to add all of that, So the first 20 days, you could say, when this Mercury is in Sagittarius, to add more of that, it opposes Uranus, right? So this is a bit even more going for the truth, even more going for the honesty, even more doing that, even more forcing the truth upon someone, or at its best, Mercury opposing Uranus at its best is thinking out of the box, looking at something in a totally different, from a totally different angle, being innovative, thinking a bit out of the box, and thinking a bit also avant la lettre, they say in French, right? Avant la lettre, that means that you can like feel what the truth is in the air, and you know it in advance. That Mercury opposing Uranus is like flashy insights that you're getting. But with this Mars there, you kind of speak the truth too fast and too loud. I think that is probably the most important thing that's going to happen. Because as Mercury goes backwards in Sagittarius, it means that a lot of people are going to say something and they're going to do it like this. It might be, those moments, it's the truth, but you think like, oh, that was a little bit too harsh. So remember that you're taking care of that you're acknowledging this, that this is the energy that we are in, right? And sometimes we say things too early, or we say things that we shouldn't say. And we will get back to that, right? That's what the Mercury retrograde is all about. But also when this Mercury is, it wants the truth, right? When it opposes Uranus, and it wants honesty, and it's going to care for that a lot, because that's the biggest transit of that retrograde that I'm talking about here. Now, when Mercury goes into Scorpio on the 20th of November, again, it will still oppose Uranus, because so that energy will be now in Scorpio, which is Mercury in Scorpio is a bit more hidden and a bit more wanting to find out truths, and wanting to dig deep to find the truth. And the thing is, in an opposition to Uranus, it's going to be very honest as well. So again, it can really stick with the communication. So make sure that you are aware of this energy, basically. And when people are really confronting you in that way, make also sure that it's not only saying a lot about them, it's also saying something about you that you have to review in a way. That's basically it. Now, the good news is, so this is a very tricky Mercury retrograde, I think. It's normally in Sagittarius, it's positive and it's optimistic and it sees more. The glass is half full than it is half empty, but with this opposition to Uranus and with this conjunction to Mars, it's a bit more tricky. Now, the good news is that after the 20th, this Mercury, when it's then in Scorpio, it's going to trine Jupiter. So we're going to feel more of the support rather than this very challenging opposition of Uranus. But the thing is, people are going to look for the truth. People are going to find truths. But how you're going to do that? How? I mean, tactful, because tact is not really written in the dictionary of a Sagittarian, right? And so just do the best, right? That you, when you're saying something, that it's coming from the right place and from a gentle, loving place and not too harsh. But anyway, now, so it's a pretty important month when it comes to what are we going to do for the future, and what are we going to do with our belief system, how to do that in the most positive way without hurting people, without forcing people, but at the same time to tap into the Sagittarian energy of, yeah, I do want more in my life, and I see possibilities because I believe, right? So it's the belief system that is supporting the actions, and it's a belief system when it's coming from love and when it's coming from the higher self and wanting to, a bit philanthropic even, you know, Sagittarius is a very philanthropic sign, you know. If there is that involved, I think you're doing very, very well, and you're getting the most out of this energy. Now, I'm going to look now for all the signs where this Mars and Mercury is in Sagittarius, where it opposes Uranus, and then when it gets back into Scorpio, where it trines Jupiter in your chart. So that's going to be the biggest chunks for all of us. Now, okay, let's get started. Let's get started with this very, very interesting energy. First of all, Aries. Now, for Aries people, this Mars Mercury in Sagittarius is actually very good. Why? Because it trines your energy. So this means that you're having this in your 9th house of the belief systems. So, and yes, it opposes Uranus in the 3rd house in the beginning of the month, right? So it could mean that there is a belief system that, you know, you're very much convinced that that is the right belief system, but there's something that needs to be reviewed with the Mercury retrograde there, and that you are going to review. That could be literally a part of your belief system that you are reviewing, right? And that could be anything, dear Aries people. So it could be anything like, oh, that is a belief system that when I'm 50 years old, you can't find another job anymore because you're too old, and you shift the belief system. Can be as simple as that. Or it can be a belief system that so the things that you say to yourself, is that really the truth? Is that the truth? Or is it a copy paste kind of belief system that you took from someone and that is not even yours in the first place? That is going to be the whole thing. But with this beautiful energy to your energy, I think you're really, really going to tap into new insights. It's a good time to travel. It's a good time to, although there is the retrograde, so you could do like, oh, I'm traveling, but I'm reviewing at the same time. Or it's going slower than I used to, than I think. But anyways, the bottom line is here that you want to get to an improved belief system. So there could be a bit of a crisis first, but then you kind of work your way out of this. Also, studies, and you could be going back to a study or reviewing a study. Travel, going to a country, revisiting a country, republishing, editing. For that, it's all social media as well. I mean, the 9th house is the house of foreign countries. So that could be related to that as well. Now, on the 20th of November, with this Mercury going more backwards into Scorpio, which is then for you your 8th house, which is a way more secret house, deep house, house of transformation. And there, when it opposes Uranus, it means that you're questioning their deep psychological stuff, deep psychological issues about yourself, about your about your imaginative fears, about questions of life and death as well. But this trines Jupiter in your 4th house. So these are water houses, but it's also the houses of real estate. So there could be you thinking about a house or moving or an inheritance or a return on investment when it comes to that, to homes and so on. So there's a lot of emotional support for you, which is fantastic. Okay, Taurus, for you, let's start with the Mercury and the Mars in Sagittarius. That's going to be in your 8th house. That's a very, very deep house for you. And that is the house of life and death. That is the house of transformation. It is the house of intimacy and vulnerability. It is the house of your traumas. It is the house of your the things that you fear in life, imaginative fears, the things that are not healed and that can come up to heal. So expect a little bit more of triggers coming up for you. but welcome them and see them as, because it opposes Uranus in your second house, which means that it's liberating you, because the knowledge that you're going to gain by introspection. So for the Taurans, I would really say go deep within. And not to hang out there for the rest of your life, but to really learn from your own vulnerabilities. And you have a chance here to have deeper vulnerability with a person, you know, whether you're single or not. There's definitely someone here that is triggering you. And you could be definitely here going on a journey of introspection of what is the transformation and what is here the healing, because the 8th house is about healing. What is the healing for you that is going on here? And for Taurans, you know, Taurus is a sign that really is ruled by Venus, right? And who wants safety and who wants to be secure. So it can have to do something with that you're a bit triggered now to get out of that, you know, that you're getting out of that comfort zone, but to heal. So that's the first part of the month. But when it comes to the 20th of November and onwards, this is becoming more important, this Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, in your direct one-to-one relationships, because then Mercury is going to be in Scorpio, which is your opposite sign of business partners, of romantic partners as well, of people who are very important in our lives and who teach us something about ourselves. So whether you're single or not, doesn't matter. There's definitely someone there that you get an opportunity to review something. Again, about truthfulness, about your truth, about you freeing yourself up. Because of this other person, there's an opportunity for you to free yourself up in some way of something that is no longer soothing you. Because Uranus is back into your sign. So you're going to go off the freedom of the self and independence. Is going to be very important. But someone else is going to reflect that for you in a way. And the beauty is that when this Mercury is in your 7th house, so typically an astrologer would say Mercury going backwards in the 7th house is, you know, past lovers that come back. But again, sometimes people say to me, I don't want that. Well, then you just don't open the door. But it is more of an energy of a review of how you did relationships in the past. And you have an opportunity to do it different now. And this Jupiter, which is helping you, is your 3rd house. And the 3rd house is your logic mind, your neighbors, the people in the neighborhood, your siblings who can help you out with a certain question that you have, people around you, communicate, you know, teammates, playmates, all of that is your 3rd house. So communicating about it in a very logic way will help you. Doing some short trips and to go in the neighborhood and doing some short trips as well is also going to help you, and learn a new skill, learn something new, because of this Jupiter in your 3rd house. So very much for you, it's all about relationships. You're going to have a full moon in Taurus at 13 degrees on the 5th of November as well. So all for you this month is about intimacy, relationships, truthfulness, right? Interesting. Geminis, in the beginning of the month, this Mars Mercury, right, in Sagittarius, that's your opposite sign. So for you, it starts with relationships. It starts with that romantic partner, business partner. If you're single, definitely someone will catch your eye. And because of this energy of Mars Mercury in the 7th house, it is an energy of, because it's in your opposite house, that someone outside of you, which is, of course, it can be a projection. It doesn't always have to be, but it can be a projection. And someone outside of you that is confronting you with their ego, that is saying, hey, this is because, remember, watch the intro, what Mars, Mercury, and Sagittarius is all about. And it opposes Uranus in your sign, which is you want to free yourself up. You want to be independent. You want to be who you are. So there's a bit of a, I'm not going to say clash, but definitely a back and forwards and an interesting conversation done with a person that is very close to you. And there's something that needs to be reviewed if you want to continue a relationship, or even if you want to start a relationship. Could mean that someone comes back into your life. Not necessarily, you know, it's not always when Mercury goes backwards, goes back into your seventh house. Goes retrograde in the seventh house, that you're going to attract an ex or something that's standing on your doorstep. But and of course, you can always do what you want to do. You can shut the door and say thank you very much. But it's like something comes back in your attitude towards relationship. That has to do with belief systems. That has to do with they believe that, but I believe that. You know, that kind of thing. So the best thing you can do is to really listen as well, and to put your ego a bit aside and to listen where they are coming from, because after all, it's Mars in the seventh. So it's about collaboration. It's about working together. It's not like Mars in your first house, right? So, of course, you don't have to be a doormat, but listen where they are coming from. That could also mean contracts with business partners that you have to redo. Let's say you have a business with someone and there could be a crisis coming up there, but the crisis is there to put it in a better energy and, in a positive way, and that you can go forwards with it. So that you can improve that relationship. Now, after the 20th, this Mercury goes back into Scorpio, and that's your sixth house, where it's going to oppose Uranus. So there, the focus will, and of course, Mercury is your ruler, it's you. So it's going to be more a focus of, in the beginning, relationships, and then your day-to-day life, your day-to-day work, your lifestyle, your day-to-day routines. There's something about it as well that you want to review, that you can improve. And it has to do with your income, because the trine, this beautiful trine that I was talking about, Mercury trining your Jupiter, this trine is happening in your second house of income. So you have this opportunity with Mercury in the sixth, and then Jupiter in your second, with improving your income by you doing a different work, another work, or an improvement of your routines, like administration that you're going to do differently, whatever. So it's really a very interesting month for you on many levels. Cancerians, this Mars Mercury in Sagittarius is starting off in your sixth house. So that is a busyness. This definitely, and it opposes Uranus in your 12th. So this is definitely some sort of a busyness in the house of your day-to-day life. So big chunks of that, of course, are for some of you work. For others, it will be more to do with your routines that you do for your health, on a health level as well, right? There could be a belief system that you had around your health that you are reviewing now. You thought like, oh, that was a good thing, or I took those pills for that problem, but I might have to review that. Maybe I have to see another doctor, or maybe I have to see, and so on and so on. So you're kind of reviewing something. So it's not going to be all people getting ill. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I'm saying that there is an opportunity for a review of your lifestyle, a review of, and something will force you to look at it, right? Something can come up that you have to look at it. Maybe you're working too hard, or maybe you're not taking enough care of your health, and now, you have to do it because something happens and you have to look at it. It's something like that. But whatever it is, it's a reassessment, and it's good to do that so that you can improve it. On another level, for a lot of you, it's going to be work. It's going to be work that there could be some battles going on with colleagues, with people who work for you. If you have your own business, it's with the people that you employ. There could be, and it has to do with belief system, right? It's in Sagittarius. So that's going to be the first 20 days of the month to figure this out, to reassess so that you can improve it. On the 20th, Mercury goes back into Scorpio, which is way easier for you because you're a water sign. You have Jupiter, lovely Jupiter in your sign, of trying to, or not trying to, reflecting that you're up for expansion, you're up for growth, you're up for seeing the bigger picture, for traveling a little bit more, learning more, and or teaching more. And it goes very well with this Mercury retrograde in your 5th house. The 5th house is the house of love. It's the house of children. It's the house of your hobbies. It's the house of your, also the projects that you want to do, your creative projects, or also starting a business. So if you've been thinking about starting a business and didn't work out, you have a chance here to look at it again for some reason. With this Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, opposing Uranus. So this is about insights and truthfulness and honesty and trining your house. This is beautiful. This means that you could launch something that you wanted to do in the past already, but now launching a project, launching a new business, reconnecting with a kid as well, with a child, or thinking about children and reconnecting in a better way, in a more emotional way, in a more nurturing way. And love as well. There could be a lover coming back, Mercury in the 5th house. And that could be a really beautiful expansion for you that, and not necessarily that someone comes back. It could also just mean that you are rethinking of love and you are experiencing also a love that is more nurturing, that is more deeper, that is transformative even in Scorpio. Leos, for Leos, what's happening for Leos? Well, this Mars, Mercury, and Sag is lovely for you. It's lovely. You're going to feel more of the positive side of this energy because you are a fellow fire sign. So this is happening for you in your 5th house, which is your house. You know, it's the house of the Leo. It's the house where we express ourselves. It's the house of where we enjoy ourselves, the house of love, the house of children, the house of starting your own business, for instance, the house of starting a project, starting a hobby. It's that 5th house. Now, with this Mars and Mercury, it means Mercury retrograde that you might be going back to an old hobby and picking it up again. You might be going back to a project that you once had and that you're picking up again. And it has to do in a way with teaching or belief system or sports as well. Definitely. You know, you could be for a hobby doing some sports and really getting back into that. It's very lively for you, this energy, or falling in love again. You know, a lover could come back for you. Mercury retrograde in the 5th house of love and relationships. And again, or in a current relationship, or even your attitude around love, that you're rethinking it and you're enjoying it more because of that. You're very active as well. Mars in the 5th house is being active in the romantic field, so to speak. So enjoy yourself. Go to a nice restaurant or travel with your loved one, if you can, of course. So this is really a very juicy energy for sure. And it opposes Uranus, so there could be an element of freedom, an element of all of a sudden I'm going to do this. So enjoy that for sure. Now, after the 20th of November and onwards, Mercury goes back into Scorpio. That is your 4th house. So that is making a bit of a square energy to your energy, but it trines Jupiter in your 12th. So what does it mean? That your thoughts are going to be more around your home, your family, literally your home, but also your emotions, the 4th house. And you're having this trine to Jupiter in your 12th. So that is emotional support from spirit, you know, emotional support with connecting with things that you cannot see. Let's put it that way. God, the divine, or some call it angels, others call it maybe people who passed away, loved ones who passed away, reconnecting with them. All that kind of energy is available for you. It's like having support, but it's not seen. It's like someone is supporting you in an emotional way because it's Jupiter in Cancer, and you're getting a donation, for instance, and they're not saying who they are. It's that kind of energy. But rethinking something of the home, you might be wanting to sell or buy abroad as well, because Jupiter is linked in the 12th house also to faraway places. So yeah, very interesting energy for you as well. Virgos, it begins, of course, with Mars and Mercury, your ruler. So you're going to feel this strongly. And definitely when it's in Sag, the first 20 days, because it's in your 4th house. So what's going on there? A couple of things. Mercury is you. Mars is, you could say, energy of drive and activity. So it's going to be at home. It's not going to be dull. Let's put it that way. It's not going to be boring at home. In a good way. This could definitely mean that you're thinking, Mercury retrograde, thinking about changing a home. Your belief system around what is home for you, you might investigate that. You might say, where I live now, I live in the city. Why not? I don't know if I'm still happy in the city. And so on. Exploring there. Could also mean literally that you're doing a lot in the home with Mars there, that you're really shifting everything, that you're working there for some reason, and or working from home. It can also mean revisit. If you live in a different country than the country of origin, that you go back to the country of origin, or that you're seeking to live somewhere else outside your country, for instance, because it's Sagittarius after all, and you're exploring this. And it might give a little bit of fire in the home because of belief systems with different members of the family, for instance. But all in all, it's an energy that that you want to improve something when it comes to the home. If it's not your home, when it comes to your emotions, that you want to feel more secure, that you want to feel more that you are safe in some way. Now, when Mercury shifts, and of course this opposes Uranus, this Mercury, so it also has to do with independence when it comes to your work, right? So the home work balance, right? Home is the 4th house, work is the 10th house. There could be something that you want to shift there. From the 20th and onwards, Mercury, your ruler, is getting back into the 3rd house. That's going to be way easier for you. Way easier because it's in Scorpio. That goes well with your energy. And it trines Jupiter in the 11th house. So this is a more social time, right? It's a very private time, the first 20 days, but then it's a very social time. It's a time for you where you might talk about all these things that you want to change with friends, with people around you, neighbors, siblings, and that could be support of these people as well, coming towards you. If you have a business of your own, if you have your own business, that could be you reviewing a website, reviewing social media, and definitely improving the ways to do that as well. Could also mean travel, so a short trip that you're going to do, and this is going to be lovely. If you can do that with friends, if they also want to do that, because it can really help you with traveling with like-minded people, or doing something of teaching or in the neighborhood that you both love to do. Librans, this Mars Mercury is happening in your 3rd house, and it's sextiling your energy. So for you, it's pretty good, this Mars Mercury retrograde. Notwithstanding the fact when Mercury goes retrograde in the 3rd, it suggests very often when you're going on a short trip, for instance, that is going to be some delays, or that you're going to lose your keys, or, you know, laptops, that you make sure that you put something, your photos on a stick or on another memory, whatever. I'm still a bit old school, aren't I? Anyway, so on another level, this Mars Mercury in the third, it could mean that a skill that you want to learn, that you used to learn, and you're picking it up again, and you're very active with it, and you're learning something that really, really is helping you with improving and you could say making sure that your belief system expands a little bit. You know, could be that as well. If you're a student, then this could mean that you are doing an exam again, right? And that you're putting a lot of effort into it. Very good energy for that, for sure. With this energy in your third house, just make sure that what you say, it's going to be very much, people are gonna, even if you're not, I mean, Librans, I mean, you're ruled by Venus. I don't think this is going to be a huge issue for you at all. But make sure that if you're going to say something now, people are going to take it a bit too confrontational or things like that. Now, when Mercury goes into Scorpio, which is the 20th and onwards, it's going to be in your second house and trining Jupiter in the 10th. So here, from where the focus was more on your the third house, by the way, is also siblings and neighbors. So there could be also you reviewing a relationship there. And because something happens and you go backwards and forwards with your attitude towards one of these people. So the focus is definitely the first 20 days on relationships. But the second part is more your career, your income, your worth. As you say, I don't have a career, I'm not working. It's about your worth and how you present yourself in public. Because there's something good here that might happen to improve your worth, to improve your financial situation. By Jupiter in the 10th, having a job or traveling for your work and or making a promotion, right? So this, or examining your finances in a new way, a new structure, and because of that, you become stronger. Scorpios, this is happening in this Mars Mercury when it's in Sagittarius in your second house. And this is the house of your finances, your worth, your value, the income that you have if you work. So there is something that you're reviewing here. And it has to do with a different belief system. So this is an opportunity for you, when you have a bit of a scarcity mindset around money, for instance, to read some books about it and to shift and investigate and question your belief system that you're having. And really ask that question: what do I deeply believe about myself and is reflected in my outer reality, in this case, money and assets, right? So there is something that might come up that might be a bit of a crisis, or you have to look at it. It's maybe a financial thing that you really have to take care of. But remember, this is not to annoy you. This is to improve your financial situation. It opposes Uranus. So it could mean that you're dealing here with your values versus, in a relationship, for instance, values of another person. And that there's some truthfulness in there that you have to look at. It could be that as well. Or shared resources, right? That comes into place and you have to investigate that. But then after, so this is a lot about your wordiness, your talents as well. So you could be doing something and questioning, what are my talents? What is my value? And the value that I think that I have of myself, is it true? That's the key question with this Sagittarian vibe. So this is a lot about yourself. But when we come into the 20th of November and onwards, it's going to be more between you and other people. It's a more social time. It's Uranus coming back, Mercury coming back into Scorpio, opposing Uranus coming back into your seventh house. So this is about relationships. This is about an opportunity of a something that has to do with the relationship, whether you are single or not. There's definitely someone appearing in your 3D world that is reflecting something that has to do with you, that has to do with Uranus, truthfulness, independence. But it's also about your truth and what you are speaking your truth. Mercury and Scorpio, maybe things that you didn't say in the beginning, certainly when you're already in a relationship, and that now are going to come up. Truths that were hidden even for you, and that you're now saying in this relationship. Whatever it is, it's got a beautiful support with Jupiter in your 9th house, which has to do with travel, with abroad, with connections abroad, with opportunities abroad, with also teaching, learning. So you could be learning, teaching, traveling. You could be with your girlfriend, boyfriend, spouse. You could be traveling, and you could be moving, also doing something together that frees up the both of you. So very nice energy, very beautiful energy, actually, supported by Jupiter. Sagittarians. Wow, what an energy here with Mars, Mercury there in your 1st house for the first 20 days of the month. You're going to feel this very much with a lot of fire, a lot of you want to say, you want to do, and you want to act for your life purpose. Because the 1st house is, first of all, it's your physical appearance. So be aware, be very careful. Also with, how would I say, that you're not rushing yourself in a way. I mean, it's 2 personal planets like Mars and Mercury. So I'm not, this is not really what I'm saying here. Oh, watch out for accident. That's not what I'm saying. But watch out for this wiseacre energy, right? So you might feel very much the urge to speak your truth. And you have to. You've got to, because you've got Mars, Mercury in the 1st house. But do it in that way that I described in the beginning of the video. I'm not going to repeat it all, because the whole first part is about you. It's for you. So watch the introduction for sure. That you're applying this energy in the best way possible, because you're going places. You're going places for sure. You want new stuff. You're reviewing yourself. You're reviewing your life, because the 1st house is your life path. And Mars is there means that you're going to take actions upon it immediately, but probably in the beginning a bit too fast, right? Fire is like, yeah, I want to do things yesterday. It's not so bad as, well, not bad, but Aries is even more like that. But use your helicopter view to don't rush yourself, because rushing means that you're insecure. You know what you want, you have the vision, you do a bit of action, but you probably will have to review something, right? And it could be anything, because the 1st house is anything. It could be a relationship that you're saying your truth, and then you're saying, but hang on, I have to review something. So you act, you say, no, let's say you're in a very bad relationship and it's not going well, then this could be the time where you're saying, thank you very much, I'm out of here. Then you do the action, which is Mars, but then Mercury goes retrograde and you're thinking, was it? Let's reassess. What is my belief system? Let's reassess. And you've got the time to do this. And on another level, it could mean that it has to do with your life path. So that you want a new job, or that you want a new home, or that you want to go living abroad, or whatever. And that you're already taking an action. But because you're taking that action, there's immediately a review. I'll give you an example. When I wanted to start, I knew that I wanted to do astrology, right? And I knew it was something big, that because I was so fearful of it. And, it's like every time when we are out of the comfort zone, it's something big that is coming, right? And so I knew, it's astrology, but how? I mean, I'm living in Belgium. This small country, can I live from that, right? And I thought, you know what, I'm gonna do a vlog, or I'm gonna write horoscopes. And I did that in the beginning. So that could be this Mars, Mercury, and Sagittarius, it's excited, it wants to do something new, it wants to expand, but I didn't like it. It wasn't only it was reflected to me that people weren't reading it, but I didn't like the writing in itself. So with the Mercury retrograde, it was also a retrograde that was going on for me at that time, but you could then reflect like, oh, maybe it is still the astrology. That's not the thing that is wrong here or not correct. But the way I'm going to do it is not the best way. So why not doing something different? And then I found out with YouTube is possible and so on. Okay, let's do it this way. With the speech, I love to speak. I don't like to write. I love to speak more than I write. And off you go with the retrograde. So it's something similar for you, dear Sagittarians. It could be also a work that you want, or a new job, or a new relationship, or something new. Mars in the first house gives you that, ooh, I gotta do it. So don't think that when you take the step and then that Mercury goes back, that is the wrong thing that you have chosen. No, it's just a review of in some way. Could also have to do with relationships, of course, because Mercury is the ruler of your 7th house. So that you are reviewing a relationship. And, it's good to reassess a relationship every now and then. I mean, we do it for our work. We do it with plenty of stuff. But a relationship need to be communicated about, and what is the belief of this person, of me, and does it resonate, and so on. So very important of standing up for yourself, speaking your truth and all of that, taking action for some new stuff coming into your life, but at the same time, still reflect. Have some reflection time. Then Mercury shifts back into your 12th house. After the 20th and onwards, it goes back into your 12th house, and it gets the support of Jupiter in your 8th house. So this means like, maybe this could mean you traveling, or you taking some time off, you meditating, writing down your dreams that you feel that come up from you don't know where. The 12th house is different realms, the realms that we do not see. You're going to feel more connected to this, but in a good way, not in a disorientating way, which usually happens with Mercury in the 12th. But now, because it gets that support of Jupiter in the 8th, it's a very transformative energy. Could also mean like money or resources from other people that are supporting you in a way. That this gives you also or maybe a donation that you're getting from someone that you don't know who it is, right? The 12th house and the 8th house could be that as well. But whatever it is, this energy is more behind the scenes, that things that you're going to work through, not so much in an analytical way, but more in a feeling way and in a calming down, so to speak, because you're going to get a lot of action in the beginning of the month, but then also a pause. Capricorns, this Mars Mercury in your 12th house in Sagittarius. Wow, this is a very restless period. The first 20 days, it's a restless period because there's like all this energy of hidden belief systems that you didn't know that you had are going to come up. And it could be old patterns that are coming up all of a sudden because it opposes Uranus, and you have an opportunity to kind of understand yourself better, right? Because the 12th house is the house of your blind spots. When this is activated in such a huge way, you could be doing meditations, you could be doing family constellations, you could be traveling, you could be taking some downtime, but at the same time, being very active with the subconscious. And that's always interesting. It's not the easiest energy. I'm going to be honest here. It's not the easiest. It could make you a little bit more, feeling a little bit more tired because you feel you're not getting enough sleep, for instance. But the purpose is here to review a pattern, an old pattern of you that was connected to a belief system and was connected to escape as well, and that you want to tackle here. And then this Mercury after the 20th, it gets more social, you could say, because then Mercury goes into Scorpio in your 11th house, trining Jupiter in your 7th. This is beautiful for relationships. So this could mean a friend coming back, or you connecting back with a friend that becomes a lover, a friend that becomes a huge mentor for you, or vice versa. It is support of people that are like-minded, for sure. And it can also mean, if you work, if you have a business of your own, that you're going to redo your social media. Because of that, you're going to get way more clients. Could be that as well. You know, the 7th house is also pretty public there. Very, very good indeed. I'm just checking. This is a long video, but anyway, I'm not going to rush. Not going to rush. Don't worry, dear Capricorns. So get social after the 20th November for sure. And when you're in a relationship, you could also be doing something with friends, right? Just to support each other. You understand each other, you support each other. And it can also mean that you are going to explore a little bit more here when it comes to friends, who's the real ones, you know, Mercury and Scorpio in your 11th house. That is an attitude of it's better 2 real friends than like 100 friends that I don't know, that are saying that they are my friends on Facebook, but you see that kind of energy. Aquarians, this is nice. This Mars, Mercury in Sagittarius in your 11th house. Why? Because it's a sextile to your energy. Although it is a bit of that fiery energy that I was speaking of in the introduction, it's in your 11th house of friends, of like-minded people, of it's a very social time for you. It's a very, very, and I hope you can tap into that energy, that you will feel more alive. And it's a Sagittarius. It broadens your perspective. There could be traveling with friends. There could be you learning something with friends, or go into groups of people where you learn something, or where you teach something. You could be the one that is doing and taking a leadership role when it comes to an organization, for instance. But all in all, there is a review of a friendship, you know, with Mercury going backwards in the 11th house. There's a review, a reassessment. There is things that you want to do. And also, if it's not friends, it's about your goals. There could be a new goal that you're going to set in your life. And Sagittarius has to do with that stepping up, right? With that very positive Sagittarian look, like travel and teaching and learning and cultural events and all of that, the broadening of the perspective. There is a goal that you want to do, and you're going to do it with Mars in the 11th. But there's also a reassessment of that same goal, or a reassessment of, as I said, friends, right? And it's in a good way. And it's going to open up freedom for you of expressing the self, because it opposes Uranus. So very social time, very social time. And again, for you, a bit easier, because it's sextiling your energy. Now, after the 20th, Mercury is going into Scorpio, which is the top of your chart. And that is squaring up to your energy, but trining Jupiter in your 6th house. These are the work houses. These are the money houses. These are the very day-to-day life houses. So the focus here will be a little bit more on, you could say, work and money and lifestyle. So with Jupiter in the 6th, you're getting here an opportunity to improve your lifestyle, to improve the way that you live, to improve your health, to improve work, if you're working, to find more purpose in your work. And the Mercury retrograde in the 10th house is a rethinking of your position in the world, right? If you work, it's your work. It's a rethinking of your career. It might be you going back to an old career, or it might be you literally you doing a reassessment with your boss, for instance, and talking about your career, or you just reassessing it yourself because you want something different out of your work. It's not your work. If it's not your work, it's about how you present yourself in the world. What do you want in life? Where do you want to go? What do you want to exude to the world? What is your contribution on an energetic level towards the world? What do you want to show life in the world? What your energy is all about? There's a shift here. You want to change something here, which is a good thing. And last but not least, Pisceans. So this Mars Mercury in Sagittarius in your 10th house is super, super important. It's huge because it squares up to your energy. So this is the balance between life, the work and home. There's definitely with Mars Mercury in your 10th house a lot to do with, let's say, first the people who work. Then I'm going to say to explain if you're not working. If you are working, there is something here that you want something new, that you want to battle, that you want to go forward. Whether it is a new job, whether it is, with a boss, that there's some, changes coming up, and it's a bit like, there's a struggle, not a struggle, but a challenge of belief system, right? Because it's in Sagittarius. And Mercury then goes backwards. So there's a reassessment of a job. There might be you thinking of changing and, but rethinking how you're going to do that and what you're going to do, right? So possibility for a new job, absolutely. Possibility for new work and how you show yourself in the world, absolutely. If you're not working, this is about how you present yourself in the world, because the midheaven, which is career, but it's also a second ascendant. So how do you want to show yourself? And there's something to reassess here. What do you believe about yourself as well that you want to show to people? And those things that you believe about yourself might be wrong, right? It's really nothing more than that, of questioning yourself about how you see yourself. And there might be some liberations there with the opposition of Uranus. Could also mean that you're going to move, or a lot of you Pisceans are in the midst of that. And that kind of questions the self, right? Who do you want to be? Where do you want to go? Where do you feel safe and comfortable? And all of these things. But again, it's about your mindset. It's about shifting a mindset about how you think upon these things. And it's good to question that. It's good. And when Mercury goes then back into Scorpio, which is very easy for you, or easier, because that's after the 20th, by the way, of November and onwards. Mercury in Scorpio is going to be in your 5th house. That is way easier for you, that retrograde in Scorpio, even though it opposes Uranus. It has to do with, again, individuality. It has to do with your heart. It has to do with you going back to something that is related to the 5th house. And that gets support from Jupiter, which is your ruler, by the way, in the 5th house. Oh, I said it's, of course, Scorpio is your 9th house and Jupiter is in your 5th house. So, mea culpa. What I said there, it's relatable, but it's about the more expansive energy of Jupiter is in Cancer in that 5th house. And the Mercury of thinking is in your belief system house. So there is a very supportive belief system energy of the heart that is coming up for you. That could be like you getting support of a child, if you have children, Jupiter in your 5th, you getting support of a loved one, or a hobby, and feeling very, very, because you're doing that, expressing yourself, feeling very nurtured because of that hobby. And it trines this Mercury retrograde in your 9th house. So again, this is very much a belief system again. I think a lot of you Pisceans are going to be triggered by something, and it's going to test their belief system. And the easier you say to yourself, okay, I'm going to review it, the belief system, I'm not going to judge here, I think you're really going to open up to something that changes your worldview. And because of that, it's going to have such a positive effect on you. It's going to improve the way that you think about life, the way that you think about yourself, the way that you connect with others and share your viewpoint as well, and to become way stronger in that. Lovely with that, because you're going to have a big trine here, a grand trine. So your energy of the Piscean trining Jupiter in your 5th house, trining Mercury in the 9th house. For some of you, this could mean that you're going to study again, something that you did in the past, and you're going to take it up again, and you're going to studying or teaching or picking something up that has to do with knowledge. Could be that as well. You're really, really going to love it, and it's going to feel even nurturing your soul with Jupiter in your 5th house in the sign of Cancer. So you're gonna feel more supported, nourished, and more in the flow, very much in the flow after the 20th of November. Before is a bit more challenging for you. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope this finds you, this video, and you can do something with it. If you want a reading, check the link out below, and all the best to you. Bye-bye.